Let me go to the border. We do have breaking news today. I ran into Tom Homan as I was walking in today. Right. And so far, 308 total arrests, 296 detainees, and the first deployment of military assets to the U.S. border. The deployment includes active duty troops in the National Guard, known terrorists in our country. Mm-hmm. We have known murderers, rapists. We have violent criminals, cartel members, gang members.
Welcome to the Hutchison House Reacts. I'm Leah Marlene. Thank you so much for stopping by. What an incredible 3 days. Can you believe it's only been 3 days since President Trump has been actually president? He, as he says in his own words, gets things done, and that he does. Just watching him work alone and the schedule that he keeps is unbelievably impressive and inspiring. But one of the things that he's getting done is safety. He's making good on all the promises that he made to us. Thank God, because it has not been a very safe place for many people. Now, the bishop that I did the story on yesterday, of course, people like her, they want to protect criminals like this. They want us to have compassion for criminals like this. And while you can have empathy for somebody who's a heinous criminal, because obviously their life has gone terribly off track, obviously they forgot who they were born to be, because I don't think anyone's born to be truly evil. You can have empathy and compassion for that and not agree with that and not condone it and not contribute to it and not help aid and abet it. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. But as you'll see on Hannity, we're putting a stop to all this.
Have known terrorists, you have to believe that they are going to attack our homeland. Mm-hmm. That would change their trajectory, that moment of your entire presidency. That has to weigh on you.
Could be, and I know I've watched you for a lot of years, and you actually make one statement before you say that. You say 100% certain.
I do.
That's a pretty big statement.
And then I say, I pray to God I'm wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, and I won't comment, but I tend to agree with you. It depends. We'll see what happens. Look, we have a lot of great people right now, a lot of great people on this situation. This was a gross miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals.
Of course, the left always want to say that you have to have compassion and it's not all people aren't all bad. Look, anybody with rationale, anybody with common sense knows that all the illegal immigrants aren't bad. But a way to solve a problem is say, just stop illegal immigration. That way we can separate the good from bad, because with the good people are a lot of bad people. And it isn't the rare exception, the way that the left wants to say. This is thousands, if not millions of people that are criminals. This is an all-out war. And I don't mean to be grim, but that's just the facts. That's like saying not every kid is going to hurt themselves if they jaywalk and run across the street. Let's just let the good kids at least cross the street and not give jaywalking tickets to those really good people who are just crossing the street and jumping out in front of trucks, because really good people are jumping out in front of trucks. So we should just let them and not give everybody tickets. No, there is a law for a reason, because it's dangerous. Law and order are there to really set up safety for people. Sure, some good people are jaywalking, some good kids with their family are jaywalking. Doesn't mean, oh, just let's let it be legal for everybody, because what the heck? What if just a few people get pummeled by a semi truck? That's just a few rare exceptions. That is absolutely illogical, and it just doesn't even make sense. We have to deport. Now, are some good people going to get caught in the mix? Probably. And that's why it's better to just come in legally, and then you don't even have to worry about it. Cross the street legally, abide by the law, and you don't have to worry about it. It's going to be much better for everybody. Watch this.
Miscarriage of common sense to allow people to come in. And I believe the number is 21 million people, and a large percentage of them are criminals all over the world. This is not just South America. This isn't, we talk Venezuela, that's a big abuser, but these are countries from
Iran,
the
Syria?
Congo, countries that you don't even think of. The Congo has emptied their prisons out into the United States. We're not thinking about the Congo. We're thinking about South America. It's much more than South America. But prisons from all over the world have been emptied out into our country by Biden, allowing it to happen. I don't even know if he knew what the hell was going on, but who would want this? I always say to people, you always like to understand, like in a business here, you want to understand the other side. Why do they want something, et cetera, and you figure it out. And there's usually an answer, almost always. I don't understand, why does somebody want open borders where, and they say the vote, but I did well with the Hispanic vote. If you're looking at Hispanic, they say they do it because they want to think they're going to stay in power. It's going to be better for Democrats. I don't really believe that. Besides that, they cheat so much. They don't have to do that. They cheat so well. They're very good at cheating. The only thing they're good at really is cheating. But here's the thing I ask. Why would somebody say that open borders are good, where jails and mental institutions from other countries and gang members right off the streets of the toughest cities in the world are being brought to the United States of America and emptied out into our country? Why would anybody that even likes, you don't have to love our country, you have to like it. Why would anybody that likes our country, the Democrats, allow that to happen? And even now, I watch them on television, they're trying to justify it. You can't justify it. The only reason it can be is two reasons. You're stupid, and I don't think they're stupid. I think anybody that cheats that much and that well is not stupid. You're either stupid or you hate the country.
Which one do you think it is? Are they stupid or they hate the country? Because this doesn't make sense to me either. Law and order has always been a thing. It's only been since Biden and Kamala came to town that we're like, open the borders. Who cares? It's all willy-nilly. Sure, it could be millions of criminals, but we're going to deny that. And anybody who's concerned about that, we'll just call them a racist. What is the motive behind that? It does not make sense. And any sense you try to make of it is scary. It's like trying to make sense of a narcissist or a sociopath. Unless you're of that thinking, it's never going to make sense to you. You can just chase your tail trying to make sense of it, or you can go along with what does make sense. His policies do make sense. What Tom Homan is doing does make sense. What ICE is doing in deporting these criminals and going after the major criminals first makes a lot of sense.
They're the only two reasons. Sean, who would ask for open borders with people pouring in, some of whom, I won't get into it, but you can look at them and you can say, could be trouble, could be trouble. There are people coming in.
There are people with gang tattoos on.
There are people coming in with tattoos all over their face. Their entire face is covered with tattoos.
That identifies.
Typically, he's not going to be the head of the local bank.
I love Trump. Also, he's so funny. Typically, he's not going to be the head of the local bank, the guy with the face tattoos. Although face tattoos have become a lot more popular nowadays, I think that statement is correct. Again, another reason why the left hates him, because you're not supposed to call it like it is. You're supposed to whisper and pretend like you have compassion for everybody, but really you just hate anybody who wants safety and common sense. But as long as you whisper like the bishop did yesterday or the day before, whenever that was, then everybody on the left loves you. Oh my gosh, I can't anymore. Now, what I love about President Trump, beyond his sense of humor, is the fact that no matter who he's talking to or where he's speaking, his message is consistent. He will say the same thing to a gang member from Venezuela or Haiti to the Bank of America CEO. His message is consistent because when you have common sense and you're saying the truth, there's absolutely nothing to hide. There's full transparency. On his first day of office, he's sitting in the White House signing executive orders, having a press conference after the longest day of history of anybody. One of those events would have been enough. He went to tea, he went to prayer, he did the inauguration speech, another inauguration speech. Then he went to a ball, 2 balls, 10 balls, 3 balls. And then he's, delivering executive orders and talking to the press. This man is incredible. But his message is always consistent. Unlike Kamala or Biden, he doesn't change up his accent and change up what he's talking about depending upon who he's talking to. His message remains the same. Also not afraid of the CEOs. He's going to tell them what time it is too. Watch him talk to the Bank of America CEO for just a moment. We're going to get back to this border situation in just a second. But watch how funny it is when he calls out the Bank of America CEO for turning down conservatives at the Bank of America. This is how weird things have gotten. But watch Trump. He's the best. We are so lucky to have him.
The CEO and chair of Bank of America.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, and congratulations, and obviously an eventful week for you and your family. If you remember 5 years ago, you came here and we walked among 150 CEOs from all over the world, and you engaged with them about your policies and your procedures. This year, you're not here, and yet this week was eventful from the orders that you mentioned earlier, literally a wave of orders coming out on immigration, on trade, and many other matters. And as a representative of the United States here, we got a lot of questions about what does all this mean and how would the president square this with his clear focus on growth, prosperity, market growth, stock market growth, a good bond market, and bringing down prices. So how do you think about the impact of all these orders and how fast they come out and how you're going to balance them with that scorecard of being successful in both continuing GDP growth, bringing down inflation, and also having a good stock price appreciation for the American citizen?
He can multitask. I mean, I think Trump is the king of multitasking. He understands politics. He understands business. He understands entertainment. He understands real estate. He knows how to get things done. Listen to this answer. Very kind, very respectful. And yet he calls out Bank of America at the end. Watch.
Well, I think it's going to actually bring down inflation. It's going to bring up jobs. We're going to have a lot of jobs. We're going to have a lot of companies moving in. Brian, we're at 21%. It was at 40%, and I got it down to 21%, the corporate tax. And it was actually, if you look at state and city, it was in many cases much higher than 40%. I got it down to 21%. And now we're going to bring it down from 21 to 15% if, there's a big if you make your product in the U.S. We're going to have the lowest, just about the lowest rate. It'll be, the 21 is on the low side worldwide. The 15 is about as low as it gets. And by far the lowest of a large country, a large, rich, powerful country, by far, not even a contest. We're going to bring it down to 15% if you make your product in the USA. That's going to create a tremendous buzz. We're also probably going back to the 1 year.
I have to interrupt right there because see, that's how his common sense goes into every single area. And he draws boundaries just like any healthy leader does, any healthy person does in any negotiation. He's a master negotiator. It's like, look, we're sick of being just taken advantage of every which way. If you want to make your product in America, we're going to give you incentive to do that. That's going to bring jobs here. That's the absolute common sense. And if you don't want to, that's fine, but there's going to be a tariff. This alone is going to stimulate the economy, let alone all of the natural resources that we're going to begin using. He's just absolutely 100% common sense, but he draws boundaries with people. I'm sorry to interrupt that, but that I think is very important to point out, especially to the leftists watching who want to say that there's no compassion, because he does have compassion. He's very kind. Listen to him put this guy in his place, though, in Bank of America. I know we're getting to it.
Deduction, where we deduct, we did that originally, and that was amazing what the impact that had. The 1 year deduction, which built up over a period of time, and then it expires. But we're going to go back to that when we do the renewal of the Trump tax plan. We have to get Democrats to approve it. But if the Democrats didn't approve it, I don't know how they can survive with about a 45% tax increase, because that's what it would be. And so I think they're going to do. We've been working along with them pretty well. I think it's very hard for a political group to say, let's charge people 45% more. I think we're in good shape, but we're actually doing a reduction for business and small businesses where you're going to bring it down to 15%, which is really something. And by the way, speaking of you, and you've done a fantastic job, but I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business. And I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Mr. President, I'll say that Your friend Gianni said hello, told me to tell you hello, and we look forward to sponsoring the World Cup when it comes both this summer for the club and next year. Thank you for getting that for the United States.
Thank you very much, Brian.
See, and that is how it's done. That's how you negotiate. See, the guy ended up having respect for him, because how can you not? But let's get back to the border real quick. So this man clearly has been extremely busy. He's already done more good for the United States and the world in the last 3 days than Biden has done in his entire career. And that's sad, but that's a fact, right? Let's listen to him on what he's going to do for the border, which we already know is in effect. But let's hear him say the exact same consistent message with these CEOs of the world.
Things are happening to a lot of countries. They say that there's light shining all over the world since the election, and even countries that we aren't particularly friendly with are happy because they understand what there is a future and how great the future will be under our leadership. America is back and open for business. And this week, I'm also taking swift action to stop the invasion at our southern border. They allowed people to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. It was ridiculous. I decided and declared to do, and very, very importantly, a national emergency on our border, immediately halted all entry of illegal border crossers, of which there were many, and began promptly returning the illegal trespassers back to the place from which they came. That action, as you've probably seen, has already started very strongly. I've deployed active duty U.S. military and National Guard troops to the border to assist in repelling the invasion. It was really an invasion. We will not allow our territory to be violated. After 4 long years, the United States is strong and sovereign and a beautiful nation. Once again, it's a strong, sovereign nation. In addition, I'm pleased to report that America is also a free nation once again. On day one, I signed an executive order to stop all government censorship. No longer will our government label the speech of our own citizens as misinformation or disinformation, which are the favorite words of censors and those who wish to stop the free exchange of ideas and, frankly, progress.
Absolutely spot on. The entire meeting was great. Perfect, of course, in Donald Trump form, because his message is consistent. And then he doesn't just have a message, he follows through on that message. And we see it. I don't know when this guy sleeps, but he's absolutely amazing. What do you think about these deportations? Please let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I want you to join the party here at the Hutchison House Reacts, because I do believe in freedom of speech here. Do you? If you do, subscribe. And if you have, thank you so much. Now let's check in with Bill Melusion and his amazing hair, talking about a very serious subject, that is these ICE deportations. Watch.
ICE raids taking place in many parts of the country, including the sanctuary city of Boston. That's where Bill Melusion went on an exclusive right along with ICE, and Bill joins us now to tell us what he found and what he saw. Bill, good morning.
Bill, good morning to you as well. In the early days of this new Trump administration, ICE officials tell me they're taking what they call a worst first approach, meaning they're going to target the worst of the worst criminal alien offenders first. Well, we were given exclusive access to join the elite ICE team right here in Boston as they go into sanctuary jurisdictions and enforce immigration law.
Good morning, everyone.
It's a frigid 5 degrees in the pre-dawn hours just outside of Boston, where this team of elite ICE officers is briefing on their targets for the day.
We're going to be targeting some extremely violent offenders today.
Within moments, the officers are on the move, with eyes on their first target.
Looks like we got movement, target vehicle coming out.
They quickly take him into custody. He's an MS-13 gang member wanted in El Salvador for aggravated murder. And he has an Interpol red notice out for his arrest.
We are targeting very violent threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Look what he says about Trump. And then he claims Biden forever, bro. Biden forever. Are these the type of people that the Bishop buddy wanted us to have compassion for? Look at this.
You feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil.
Those are going to be memes all over the place, right? That is not good for Biden's legacy. This is horrible. By the way, my dad and stepmom passed away this past year. They were in Florida and they had some Haitians. Not all Haitians are bad, right? But a lot of these people that Biden and Kamala have let in our country are criminal. They were robbed from, they were beat up. It was horrifying. And there's all these loopholes to even try to prosecute these people. We can't. We're just left with two people that we love that have died, and now dealing with the aftermath of having them be abused in their last days by some of these illegal immigrants. It's absolutely sickening and sad beyond measure.
Who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
The main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the communities, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of our communities. Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
Thank God common sense is back in the White House. This is why, for all the people that were commenting, oh, you guys just don't have compassion on the right, you don't have compassion for people. No, we do. We have actually a lot of compassion, because the reason why we need to deport these people is that they are criminal. Now, are there some good people that were illegally coming to the States? Yeah. And a lot of those people are getting harmed by these people too. So you have to put a stop to this. Now, some people are going to scream on the left, it's racist and all that. But thank God, millions of Americans know the truth. And we know that this actually helps everybody. And it puts a notice on the criminals that we're not going to play. Tom Homan ain't playing around. Trump ain't playing around. These guys mean business. And they mean business for the United States so that we can have safety, health, well-being, make money, all the things, right? Because when we can do that, we can help the world. When we're just depleted and being bashed down, we can't. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and that's how he had to spend his last days, was being beat up and stolen from. That's wrong. And then now there's no justice. But to me, this is justice. This is justice for my dad. This is justice for the people who have lost children due to this type of crime. This is justice for America and for the world to serve notice that, no, we're not going to have compassion for criminals. I'm sorry that you chose a life of crime, but do it somewhere else in prison where you belong.
After we finished filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested for raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault.
This is terrible for Joe Biden, because the truth is being exposed now. It's like, why were you flying people? Not only open borders, but helping people like this to come in. And then not only that, but we were paying for them. And that's all fact. But of course, the ladies on The View and MSNBC and that bishop who was bought would all say that we just have no compassion. Well, they have no compassion for people like my dad, for people who served for this country to have freedom and only to have their last days be stolen from and beat up. They have no compassion for Lake and Riley. They have no compassion for all the lives lost and people that are being harmed every single day. But thank God that's going to stop. Of course, we can't stop all crime everywhere. That was the other justification that they have. Well, crime happens everywhere. Well, yes, I know that. We all know that. But let's not encourage it. Let's not pay for it. But I'm more interested to know in what you think. Do you think, I think by the end of the week, there's going to be thousands of people that they catch. I think it just in 3 days, look at all the work that Trump has done. Look at all the work that all of his team has done. Look at all the work that Tom Homan has done with ICE. This is absolutely amazing. I think that within a week, we'll have thousands of people. This is fantastic. It's bad to find out and see these people and how horrible they are, but we already knew that. So the good news is that they're going to be caught. Do you agree with these deportations, these mass deportations? Do you agree with ICE going in to sanctuary cities? I know I do. Or do you agree with that woke bishop who says that we should have compassion and mercy on these people? I can have mercy on these people from my heart. I can pray for the enemies, right? Yes, pray for the enemies, but it doesn't mean help them. It doesn't mean help them. Thank you so much for being here. If you find value in this video or any video here, or any video just on the internet, how about that? Then subscribe to this channel, because why not, right? Freedom of speech. All right, thank you. See you next time.